Good evening. Hello. Good evening. It's good to be here. Thank you very much. Have a seat if you can find a place to sit. It's good to have a full house here tonight. Um, I do want to thank the mayor and the governor for that warm introduction. We've been this is our second stop of the evening, so we just left an event just a few minutes ago and just made our way down the hallway over here to this other event. But it's good to be here. And before I begin my remarks tonight, I do want to talk about the events this morning in Baltimore. Um, I was awakened early this morning with news of the bridge collapse in Baltimore. Um, I will tell you tonight that my administration, the Rogers administration, will pledge full support. I talked to the governor and the mayor and said, whatever you need, you could have it. We're there in support. And I do plan on when it's time, when the time is right, I do plan on making a visit over there and thanking the first responders who did a phenomenal job in reaction to this horrible event this morning. So let's have our thoughts and prayers to the men and women of Baltimore. It's a very trying time for them, and let's just keep them in our prayers here this evening. You know, it's really great to be up here in New York City. This campaign, it's a long campaign. And one of the things I've noticed during my time on the trail is this. Typically, a campaign, you're talking about issues, your agenda, your platform. What do you want to do? I've heard different candidates. I've heard different candidates talk about how on day one they want to be a dictator, and they haven't really said anything beyond day one. And I've heard candidates go at each other. To me, that's not a presidential campaign. The ideal behind a campaign is to discuss the issues. The men and women in this room, the men and women across this country have to make a decision on the future of this country. And I know we're told every time there's an election that it's the most important election we'll ever have in our nation. But I truly believe this one really is. I truly believe that the future of our great country is in the ballot box. Do we want a president who is a leader, who has a proven track record? Or do we want to the same old thing of hatred, of divisionness, of polarization? The voters will decide in November. But I want to lay out for you a few of the things that I stand for tonight. Last night Andre and I were having a conversation about this, and she told me flat out, Richard, you don't live in Ronald Reagan's America anymore. You know what? She's right, and you kind of have to be right with your wife there, but she's right. Because if you look back at Ronald Reagan's America, there wasn't a polarization. Unemployment was low. It's low now. Mortgage rates were down. Young couples were buying homes. I always remember that was probably the first presidential campaign that I fully remember watching. And you see this vision of America. His theme was morning in America. It was always the sunrise of the country and the day ahead. People going to work in carpools, people going to work, steel workers saying that the president put in work, and they're going to hope he keeps them there at work. He appreciates their hard work, and so that's the America we had. You think about 4 years ago at this time, we were in the midst of a lockdown. 15.5% unemployment. Overnight, people lost jobs. Our economy was on the brink. Now, and we also had a pandemic, a COVID pandemic, that is now in the rearview mirror. But let's look 4 years ahead. Unemployment is now 3.8%. I'd like to get it at 3, but 3.8 will work. We are We are divided, though. We are polarized. Remember back in the early days of the pandemic when we always saluted our first responders? I remember seeing flights over metropolitan cities. The Blue Angels, the Thunderbirds were flying together, saluting our first responders, thanking them for their hard work, the countless hours of what they did to try to get this pandemic under control. A few short months later, they were turned into enemies. They were polarized. And that was the beginning of this. We need to get back in our nation to Ronald Reagan's America. We need to do that. You know, but I am deeply honored to stand before you tonight here in the vibrant city of New York. This iconic city embodies the essence of America: diversity, resilience, and boundless opportunity. As we gather here amidst the hustle and bustle of this great city, I'm reminded of the tremendous privilege and responsibility that comes with leadership. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your unwavering support and dedication to our shared vision for a better future. New York, with its towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, serves as a beacon of hope and inspiration for people from all walks of life. It's a melting pot of cultures, ideals, and dreams where individuals come together to pursue their aspirations and build a brighter tomorrow. This campaign is not just about winning an election, it is about bringing people together, transcending divisions, and forging a path forward that uplifts every American from the Bronx to Staten Island, from Queens to Brooklyn. We are united by our common values and aspirations for a more inclusive and prosperous nation. In the face of unprecedented challenges, we must stand together as one nation, indivisible and unwavering in our commitment to progress, whether it's addressing climate change, expanding access to health care, or creating economic opportunities for all. We must confront these challenges head on with courage, compassion, and conviction. Together, we can harness the boundless potential of our great nation and ensure that every American has the opportunity to thrive and succeed. As we can embark and continue on this great journey together, let us draw strength from the resilience of New Yorkers and the spirit of the American people. Now, this city does have, I think, an indestructible spirit. You think about 9/11 and how everybody came together, the first responders, the city just in general came together and and came united and worked countless hours, countless days, countless months to recover all the victims from 9/11 from the World Trade Center, the three um, the three buildings there. And you think about where we are now. You know, there is no reason at all that we can't go back to that Ronald Reagan's America. People say we can't do it. I know we can. I know we can. We have to learn to respect one another. We have to learn to love one another. Sure, we're going to have differences. Yeah, we're going to have differences, but we need to respect them. We just because I have a different opinion than any other candidate that's in this race, it doesn't mean that I hate them. You know, Ronald Reagan, when he was president, used to say about Tip O'Neill, who was Speaker of the House. Both these guys were Irish. And Tip was a old Boston Irishman, Speaker of the House. They would go at each other all day. Basically, they were politicians. They would argue their respective agendas all day long. But when 5 o'clock came, they were the best of friends. Why can't we as a country embody the spirit of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill and do that? Why can't we have those battles, differences of opinion, and then at 5 o'clock shake each other's hand? We really respect we really respect one another. We may not think it, but we do. You know, and if we come together, we can write the next chapter of America's story. and that is one of unity, justice, and prosperity of all. You know, I'm reminded of another fellow Texan who occupied this great office a few years ago, and he in the Oval Office he had a painting by a man named Tom Lay. Now Tom painted this beautiful painting called Near El Paso. In describing the painting, Tom talks about living on the east side of the mountain, for that's where him and his wife Sarah live, because they can see the sunrise of the day ahead, not the sunset of the day that's past. There are so many candidates in this race today that are talking about living on the west side of the mountain. I'm talking about living on the east side of the mountain, and I truly believe that America's best days are ahead of us. I truly believe that. If we come together as one and we go back to that America that was. May God bless you. May God bless our troops, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.